Skyscrapers and structures. Skyscrapers, American architecture. There's a picture of New York City and the Twin Towers in the background. The materials used in skyscrapers made the buildings as strong as iron. The frame of steel, which was invented in Chicago on a 10-story building, also the first skyscraper, was unusual because instead of putting the weight load through the exterior walls, it put it through a steel frame. So the walls, or the skin or curtain as it would be called, hold absolutely no weight. So they can be made of glass. And reinforced concrete, which is reinforced by steel, has a higher tension load. The safety lift was also invented, also known as the elevator. The history of the elevator. In 1850, steam and hydraulic elevators had been introduced. And until the 19th century, buildings of over 6 stories were rare, as having great numbers of stairs to climb was impractical for the inhabitants. In 1852, Elijah Graves Otis invented the first safety brakes for elevators. With this installation of his first safe elevator in 1853, he literally started the elevator industry. His invention enabled buildings and architects' imaginations to climb ever skyward, giving a new and bold shape to the modern skyline. The first passenger elevator was installed by Otis in New York in 1857. This is a picture of his lift, and that's probably him on it. Early Chicago. On October 8th, 1871, the Chicago fire started. The Great Chicago Fire, as we all know it. Started in the southwest of the business district, leaped over the Chicago River, and it caused the greatest property damage in the world. Almost everything was virtually destroyed. There's only a couple buildings left in Chicago today, still standing. The wealth and the population grew after the Great Fire, and it became one of the most modern cities in America at the time. Early New York, less than 25 years after Chicago, became one of the biggest trade and industrial capitals of the world, overtaking Chicago with how many skyscrapers and things it had, and also making it one of the world's and country's most dominant cities with skyscrapers. Top American skyscrapers are the Empire State Building, built in 1931, the John Hancock Center, built in 1969, the World Trade Center, built in 1972, and the Sears Tower, built in 1974. The Empire State Building, picture is shown here, was designed and inspired by a pencil. This showed proof of stability, showing that we could build higher and higher, and it was built fast, and it was cheap, plausible, and everything to build for us for business use. It was the world's tallest for 4 decades. The John Hancock Center was built 60 years after the Empire State Building, overtaking it as the tallest building at the time. It was called Big John, and it took 4 years to complete, also very fast. It had a labor force of 1,600 people. 76 tons of steel and concrete were used to build this, and it had a unique structure. Screened-in section, which was for tourists to go to the top, and they could walk out on an open section and look around, but it was screened in so that they couldn't jump off. Here's a picture of the John Hancock, and if you look at the picture to the right, just below the towers and the white section at the very top is where the screened-in section is for the tourists. The World Trade Centers, picture shown here, were the tallest buildings in the world from 1972 to 1974. On September 11, 2001, the buildings were hit by planes' terrorist attacks, which knocked them down at approximately 10:28 a.m.
The Sears Tower. It was engineered and designed by Fazlur Khan. It stands 1,454 feet tall and holds the tallest overall height in the United States. It was named after the Sears department store, and here is the Sears Tower in the Chicago skyline. The two tallest skyscrapers in the world outside the United States are the Petronas Towers and the Taipei 101 building. Petronas Towers is short for Petroleum National and is equipped with 242-foot tall spires, where the overall structure stands 1,483 feet tall. It exceeds the 110th floor of the Sears Tower. The structure had to be very stiff to stand up to the winds. The Petronas Towers had mixing batch plants placed on the build site when the site construction was going on to prevent travel time and expenses to bring and ship the materials to the site from other places. The buttresses provide stability and support for the skyscraper. On October 9th of 2003, the Taipei 101 building was open. It has the highest structurally and its highest roof and occupied floor of all skyscrapers. Taipei 101 building is short for technology, art, innovation, people, environment, and identity, where the 101 is for striving far beyond perfection of 100%. And it is equipped with two of the world's fastest elevators. Structures. Wind turbines are found in the American West, where it is very windy at times. The wind turbine blades range from having 2 to 3 blades. The blades are turned by kinetic energy of wind, which then turns the rotor inside, which is connected to the main shaft, which then is connected to the generator, which creates electricity. They usually stand 100 feet tall or higher to catch more wind. The Statue of Liberty is found in Liberty Island, New York. It was opened on October 28th of 1886. The statue stands 151 feet tall and 1 inch, and the pedestal it stands on is 154 feet tall. It was designed by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, but the actual internal structure was designed by Alexander Gustave Eiffel, who is also the designer of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. The St. Louis Gateway Arch is located in St. Louis, Missouri. It was opened on December 21st, 1935, designed by the architect Errol Saarinen, who won the design competition in 1947 for the monument to open the West. It stands 360 feet tall and 360 feet wide. The Washington Monument is found in Washington, D.C. and was dedicated to George Washington, the first President of the United States. It was opened on December 6th of 1884. It was designed by Robert Mills. It stands 555 feet and 5.125 inches tall. The Eiffel Tower is found in Paris, France. It was erected in 1889. Stands 1,063 feet tall. Was designed by Gustave Eiffel. The structure on your left is the Dubai Tower in the United Arab Emirates. It is currently the tallest freestanding structure in the world, but when finished will be the world's tallest skyscraper. The red is a portion that is not finished. On your right is a comparison of different sized windmills and familiar structures.
This report was done by Anthony Wisniewski and
Patrick Zavoral.